Good evening, viewers. Again, this is your host, Dr. Gilbert Gicharu Githere, coming to your homes with another session of Mazungumzo. And this time I'm branching completely different route. We've been covering Hegel's and the subject of others. Now, my subject also is very much related to leadership. I got a doctorate in leadership as it pertains to virtual reality or digital realm and developing countries, language, and management. All parcel together. How do people from the developing countries or previous colonized people approach the world of 2021 or the 21st century, which is actually a postmodern era where the economy that will lead the world is the digital economy. And it's very, very different from what has been there before. If you read W.W. Rostow and the historical development of countries, you will see that actually digital age has changed the paradigm completely. What people thought was not possible for other countries is very, very possible. And a good example here is how China is setting a pace, unbelievable pace, by using the digital industry. And as economists had said previously, somebody like Paul Kennedy, that the curve of the Chinese people will supersede that one of the Western world. It's becoming a reality, and mostly this is because of the digital age, performative economy. Now, I'm going back to a very basic element of leadership, and this I borrow from my peers and people who I have used when I was studying leadership, and this is somebody like James Kouzes and Barry Posner. These are giants when it comes to the subject of leadership. And you can see here, I'm dealing with a subject like the way I have dealt with the self-consciousness as it pertains to Western philosophy. The individual in Western concept or in Western beliefs, he's at the center of everything. If you look at Confucius, it's a bit different. If you look at Hinduism, it's a bit different. The community is at the center of the development or the philosophy of what is good. And that's the difference. The individual is at the center of everything in the Western concept. So here I'm looking at a subject like leadership challenge, how to make extraordinary things happen in organizations. You can see that's a very intimate subject to what I've been dealing with, because self-consciousness and the subject starting to realize he's not an object, he is actually the thinking entity in the Western concept, makes him the leader of everything as per that time. But as society continues to develop, you see that there is the community and there is bigger good like defense, education, health, and housing. You need to come together for you to exploit to the maximum the resources of a nation or a state. So the individual kind of comes down because of necessity. It's not because he wants. He has to be checked. But the society in the West and Hegel's philosophy of phenomenology of spirit, the individual is at the center of everything. So it's good to kind of remember that thing that I'm discussing, this kind of leadership in the West as it pertains to the individual. And these are borrowed directly from the book of these two gentlemen. And you can Google them and you'll see the subject matter. So how to make extraordinary things happen in an organization. Exemplary leaders have positive expectations of themselves and of their constituents. They expect the best of people and create self-fulfilling prophecies about how ordinary people can produce extraordinary actions and results. Exemplary leaders' goals and standards are ambiguous, helping people focus on what needs to be done. They provide clear feedback and reinforcement by maintaining a positive outlook and providing motivating feedback. They stimulate, rekindle, and focus people's energies and drive. Now you can see that leadership is so important if you are going to achieve your visions and strategies and goals in life. You need a kind of a person to be out there leading and really taking interest in every member of the community, of the organization. Everybody has to be recognized and must be given made to feel needed and worth, and his expectations will be met by an organization. So motivation is very, very important to individuals from leaders. So here you can see leaders have been actually given the world. The sky is the limit. When they are leading an organization, they have to set up everything, stimulate, rekindle, focus people's energies to a specific, very, very direct, achievable goals and strategies and visions. So once the leader creates vision and strategy by issuing a policy statement, then everybody starts to move towards that goal that has been set by the leader. I'm not going to go very deeply because it's a short subject, like just to digest. And if you go back to program 1, program 2, program 3, and program 4, which I have discussed about as the formation of self-consciousness as per Hegel in the phenomenology of the spirit or the mind, you will see that these things kind of tie up. They tie up. Because you see, at the same time as you have leadership given to people, it has got to be through conscience, agreement of the people. The leaders are elected by the people. They vote for them. Even in organizations, if organizations are run properly, these have got to be people who have exhibited that they are the wise and the virtuous in the society. As Hegel has it, who is a wise and virtuous leader? According to the classics and antiquity, the Greek philosophers said only the virtuous people and wise are those actually who abide and obey the customs of their people. The customs of their people. Achieving your country, as Roti wrote it. You can read it, Achieving Your Country. It kind of says very clearly that the consideration of everybody in the community and equity will always be an answer to our problems. Recognizing the abilities and the worth and giving people the expectation in equal share. Very, very important. Exemplary leaders recognize and reward what individuals do to contribute to the vision and values. You must give back. You must reward. It doesn't have to be monetary. A pat on the back. Oh, you're doing a good job. Just that. You're doing a good job, Gilbert. You're doing good job, Smith. You're doing good job, Collins. Just a word from the leader. They express their appreciation far beyond the limits of the organization's formal systems. And organizations are different things. Some are religious, some are cultural, some are geographical. They come in all forms. Some are virtuous meetings that people are forming, virtual meetings that are happening now and running an industry virtually. You got to develop ways of recognizing those who are making things happen and possible, and they're creating not necessarily profits, they are helping to foster good life of the community, especially when they give back things which help the community live a better life. Those are the kind of recognitions that should be made. They enjoy being spontaneous and creative in saying thank you. Personalizing recognition requires knowing what is appropriate individually and culturally. You got to know people inside out, because you can only meet their expectations if you know them inside out. And that's why you remember I had a section where I discussed about teams, the 4 C's: competency, creativity, innovation, being able to adapt to change, and recognizing everybody in the team, and creating clear visions in an organization that people are not wondering, what is this guy saying? And of course, divisions. Don't throw statements out there as if you have thrown fire in the midst of ants. You're going to kill ants, and they're not going to perform well, or bees. You reward those people with positive things, so what they were doing is strengthened. Although recognizing someone's efforts may be uncomfortable and embarrassing at times or first, it really is sometimes it's not really that difficult to do. And it is well worth the effort to make a connection with each person. Learn from many small and often casual acts of appreciation, what works for each of your constituents, and how best to personalize recognition. You can see that leadership calls for a lot. So if you have all these people, like 365 million people, you have a great load of making recognition trickle to the individual at a community level. You have got to use all kind of the structure, the format, the structure of leadership, and the ladder, if it's horizontal, that everything reach to every institution of your showing of appreciation of the people. That's a difficult job. That's why leadership, it's difficult. People think leadership is easy. It's not. That's why it has become the biggest subject that one has to learn if you have to be a good manager. And leaders can be made. They are not born. Like the olden days, you go to have a Bonaparte. Born, and his leadership is inborn. No. There is no inherent leadership that is given into a person. Sometimes you go to train, because subjects, areas that you lead, they tend to be different from one another. I'm not going to go into detail. This is just like a small caveat I'm giving out there, because I have long things I've put on the internet for you to kind of cover. This is now becoming personal. To encourage the heart, you must recognize contributions by showing appreciation for individual excellence. This means you have to make sure people know what is expected of them. Maintain high expectations about what individual and teams can accomplish. And this is a daily thing. You cannot do it one time and then you start relaxing, you start thinking of yourself and being selfish. No, this is constantly values that you have got to promote on daily basis if you're running an organization. Communicate your positive expectations clearly and regularly. Let people know that you believe in them, not just in words, but also through actions. Even Hegel himself, in a section where he discusses what tells really the characteristics of people, who are people, and to motivate them. Mostly the actions of the people will tell you who they are. Sometimes you say the words speak, the words are the ones speaking, but the actions speak better about a person. So look at the actions of the people. Are they happy of how you are leading the company? And always try to be considerate. Create an environment that makes it comfortable to receive and give feedback, including to you. Because some people, when they want to create problems in an organization, they create that feedback is not reaching them, and only they start sending negative vibes to the people. That's divisive. It's deliberate. Because feedback should start from the day you go into that institution. Life is a two-way traffic. So the route to you must always be open. If you start looking difficult to a person who you had given an ear, now you don't listen to him, he will know things have changed. So you, leadership, don't complain and start telling people, oh, this guy is not listening and this guy is doing bad things. You must go back and see, have I been communicating to him effectively, and he knows what are my requirements, or the society requires this to better their lives. Always is bettering people's lives. It's not about spreading truth and reality and objective reality. No, it's to better people's lives, community and nations. People are advancing in health, in the way they get transportation to different places where they are going. Their merchandise, when they produce, is getting to the markets. And the infrastructure is taken care of. And their health, they can afford, they can get medicine. They know where to go when they're sick. And always there is a way of resolving things together in a circle. That formation which came long ago from the indigenous people. The best table is the round table. Everybody is equal and horizontal. And you can share everything there now in a circle, and there is warmth in that relationship. People forget this. They start using square tables and everything, and one sitting at the head of the table, and he's the leader, and everything flows from him, and nothing comes from the people. The table that is the best is round table. Is the best table to have. And now I'm coming to the end of this section. I hope you go back and kind of digest it. Find out types of encouragement that make the most difference to others. Don't assume you know. Ask. Take the time to inquire and observe. Connect with the people in person. Stop by and visit them in their workplaces. Be creative when it comes to recognition. Be spontaneous. Have fun. Make saying thank you a natural part of your everyday behavior. Don't take anyone for granted. Until we meet again, this is your host, Gilbert Gicharu Githere, saying bye and ciao ciao. Until we meet again.